The massive chambers of the Galactic Federation's High Council gleamed with an artificial brightness that made Admiral Sarah Chen's eyes hurt. Floating platforms carried representatives from over 1,000 species, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. But Chen wasn't here to admire the view. She stood before them, wearing her formal United Earth Defense Force uniform, waiting for their response. High Counselor Zextal, a towering figure with crystalline features, leaned forward from the central platform. The Federation has reviewed Earth's petition for full membership rights. The translator conveyed his musical speech into harsh standard Galactic. We find your species lacking in several key areas. Chen kept her face neutral, though her hand tightened imperceptibly on her datapad. 20 years of being treated like children was wearing thin. Your military capabilities are particularly concerning, another counselor, a gaseous being named Vrax, added. Your fleet consists of barely 300 ships. How can you possibly contribute to Federation defense? With respect, Chen replied, her voice steady. Earth's contributions to the Federation have been significant, even from our position as an associate member. Our scientists have made breakthroughs in— Yes, Zextal interrupted, crystal fragments clicking in what Chen had learned was their equivalent of dismissive laughter. Your scientists are clever, but the Federation requires members who can stand as equals. The recent Drachnid incursions have shown that military strength is more crucial than ever. Chen took a deep breath. Then perhaps it's time we showed you exactly what Earth can do. The chamber's hollow projectors activated, but not at the Council's command. The space above the gathering filled with tactical displays, showing a massive fleet emerging from stealth. Ships that shouldn't exist, using technology that the Federation thought impossible for humanity to possess. What is this? Zextal demanded, crystal structure flickering with alarm. This is the 10th Fleet, Chen said calmly. One of 15 we've built in secret over the past 2 decades. While you dismissed us as children, we studied. While you restricted our access to technology, we innovated. And while you ignored our warnings about the Drachnids, we prepared. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from various species shouted questions and accusations. But Chen wasn't finished. She activated another display, showing recordings from battles that the Federation didn't even know had taken place. 6 months ago, a Drachnid war fleet attempted to establish a beachhead in the Arcturus sector, she continued. They never reached their target because they encountered this. The recording showed Earth ships emerging from hyperspace, their hulls incorporating technology from a dozen different species, modified and improved in ways the Federation had never imagined. Impossible. Vrax's gaseous form swirled in agitation. These technologies are restricted. The combination of Zern phase drives with Kylonian shield matrices alone would create a nearly invincible weapons platform, Chen finished. We know. We also know that the Federation has been sitting on these potential advances for centuries, too afraid of change to use them. In the back of the chamber, Federation military advisor Kren watched with growing horror as he recognized components from his own species' ships integrated into Earth's designs. How did you acquire these technologies? He demanded. Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You've been selling us outdated ships for scrap for 20 years, advisor. Did you think we were just melting them down? Every piece of technology you discarded, we studied. Every system you thought too primitive for your needs, we improved. The tactical displays updated, showing Earth fleets moving into defensive positions around key Federation worlds. Not as aggressors, but as protectors. 3 days ago, Chen continued, our long-range sensors detected a massive Drachnid fleet gathering for an assault on Federation space, a fleet 5 times larger than anything you've encountered before. She paused, letting that sink in. The Federation's current forces would be overwhelmed in hours. High Counselor Zextal's crystalline form had lost its luster. And you choose now to reveal this, to blackmail the Federation when we're most vulnerable? No, Chen's voice was firm. We choose now to save you from your own complacency. The Drachnid fleet will arrive in 6 days. Earth's combined fleets are already moving to intercept them. We're not asking for Federation membership anymore, Counselor. We're offering you a choice. She activated one final display, showing the full extent of Earth's hidden capabilities. Research stations, shipyards, and technologies that made the Federation's finest look obsolete. You can continue to treat us as children, maintain your precious hierarchies and restrictions, and face the Drachnids alone, Chen said. Or you can accept that humanity has earned its place among the stars, and we can face this threat together. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. It was Kren who finally broke the silence, his military training allowing him to see past pride to pragmatism. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you advance so far without us noticing?" Chen's expression softened slightly. "Because you saw what you expected to see. You saw our outdated patrol ships and assumed that was all we had. You saw our careful questions about technology and thought we were struggling to understand basics. You never wondered why we always seemed so interested in your discarded equipment, your abandoned research." She turned to address the entire chamber. "Humanity has learned that the greatest advantage isn't in having the strongest weapons, but in being underestimated by your opponents. The Drachnids are about to learn that lesson. The question is, will the Federation learn it too?" Zexatal's crystal structure hummed as he processed this new reality. "You realize," he said slowly, "that this revelation will change everything. The power balance within the Federation needed to change," Chen finished. "The galaxy is evolving, Counselor. The old ways of thinking, of restricting progress and maintaining artificial hierarchies, won't protect us anymore. Earth is ready to share what we've learned, to help the Federation grow stronger. But we'll do it as equals, not as subjects." The tactical displays updated one final time, showing the massive Drachnid fleet's approach vector. Beside it, Earth's hidden fleets moved with precision, taking up defensive positions that showed years of preparation and strategic planning. 6 days, Chen reminded them. That's how long you have to decide. Will you stand with us as equals, or cling to your old hierarchies as the Drachnids tear them down? As she turned to leave the chamber, Chen allowed herself a small smile. 20 years of patience, of playing the role they expected, had led to this moment. The Federation would never see humanity the same way again. And in the depths of space, Earth's hidden fleets prepared for battle, their crews ready to show the galaxy exactly what humanity could do when pushed too far. The next 6 days would change everything one way or another. The High Council's private chamber was in complete disarray. Representatives from the most powerful species in the Federation argued like children, while High Councilor Zextal's crystalline form pulsed with stress patterns. 300 ships. Vrax's gaseous form swirled agitatedly. "They told us they had 300 ships. How do we miss 15 fleets?" Military advisor Kren was reviewing the tactical data for the 20th time. "These designs, they're impossible. They've taken technologies that were never meant to work together and not only combined them, but improved them." "The human ambassador is waiting," an aide announced, causing the chamber to fall silent. Ambassador Sarah Chen entered, still in her admiral's uniform, but now she carried herself differently. Gone was the careful deference they were used to seeing from humans. This was a warrior who knew exactly how strong her position was. "The Drachnid fleet has increased speed," she announced without preamble, activating a holographic display. "They'll arrive in 4 days, not 6. Zextal's crystals chimed with alarm. "You're certain?" "We have probes watching their every move," Chen replied. "Technology you thought we couldn't possibly possess." She paused, looking around the chamber. "Have you reached a decision?" The Federation representatives looked at each other uneasily. Finally, Kren spoke up. "We've analyzed your tactical data. Even if everything you've shown us is true, the Drachnid fleet is massive. Your hidden forces are impressive, but—" "You still think you're only seeing everything," Chen interrupted. She pressed a button on her datapad, and new data flooded the tactical displays. "This is a real-time feed from what we call the Ghost Network. Quantum-linked sensors covering every approach to Federation space. Technology we developed by studying debris from a crashed Zern ship you told us was worthless." The display showed hundreds of small signatures, Earth ships moving in perfect coordination, using stealth systems that made them nearly invisible to standard Federation sensors. "By the stars," Vrax whispered, his gaseous form condensing in shock. Those are drone ships, autonomous weapons platforms, but the computing power required to coordinate so many is impossible by Federation standards. Chen smiled. We stopped measuring ourselves by Federation standards a long time ago, Counselor. Necessity is a powerful motivator for innovation. Zexatal's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns that indicated deep thought. Why reveal all this now? You could have continued building your forces in secret. Because the Drachnids aren't going to stop with one attack, Chen said grimly. They've been testing the Federation's defenses for years, learning its weaknesses. The Federation's policy of technological restriction has created vulnerabilities they're ready to exploit. She activated another display, showing analysis of Drachnid fleet movements over the past decade. They think they're facing an old, complacent power that's forgotten how to fight. Instead, they're going to face humanity. And what do you want in return for this protection? Kren asked carefully. Chen's expression hardened. We want what we've always wanted, equality. No more restrictions on human expansion, no more oversight of our research, no more treating us like children who need to be controlled. You're asking us to abandon protocols that have maintained peace for millennia, Vrax protested. Those protocols are exactly why the Federation is vulnerable now, Chen countered. While you've been maintaining the status quo, species like the Drachnids have been preparing for war. The galaxy is changing. Adapt or die. The chamber fell silent again as the Federation leaders contemplated their options. Finally, Zexatal spoke, his crystalline voice resonating with authority. Show us your battle plan. Chen nodded and expanded the tactical display. The hologram showed Earth's hidden fleets taking up positions around key Federation worlds, their advanced sensors already tracking Drachnid movements. We've developed countermeasures for every Drachnid technology we've encountered, she explained. Their shield frequencies, their weapon systems, even their FTL signatures. We can track and counter them all. How? Kren demanded. Even our best scientists. Your best scientists work within the boundaries you set for them, Chen interrupted. Humanity had no such limitations. We took your discarded technologies, your abandoned research, and asked questions you never thought to ask. What if we combined Zern phase drives with Kylonian shields? What if we used quantum computing to coordinate drone swarms? What if we stopped treating different species' technologies as incompatible and started seeing them as pieces of a larger puzzle? The tactical display shifted, showing simulations of the upcoming battle. Earth's forces moved with a precision that made the Federation leaders uncomfortable, executing strategies that seemed to break all conventional military doctrine. This isn't just about defeating the Drachnids, Chen continued. This is about showing the galaxy a new way forward, one where cooperation and innovation aren't just allowed, they're encouraged. Zexatal's crystals pulsed with decision-making patterns. And if we refuse, if we maintain our current protocols? Chen's expression was cold. Then Earth will still fight. We'll still protect Federation worlds because they're our neighbors, and letting them fall would endanger us all. But afterward, she paused. Afterward, humanity will remember who stood with us and who stood in our way. The threat was clear. The Federation could either embrace change willingly or have it forced upon them. 3 days, Chen said, heading for the door. That's how long you have to decide whether you're ready to build something new or if you'll cling to the old ways until they destroy you. As she left, Kren turned to Zexatal. High Counselor, the implications of what they've achieved, if they could hide this much from us, what else might they be capable of? Zexatal's crystalline form dimmed slightly. I believe, Advisor, that we're about to find out. In the depths of space, Earth's hidden fleets continued their preparations, their crews ready to show the galaxy that humanity was done playing by someone else's rules. The next few days would reshape the balance of power in ways the Federation had never imagined. And in her private quarters aboard the flagship, Admiral Sarah Chen looked at the stars and smiled. 20 years of patience were about to pay off. The Federation would never see humanity the same way again. And perhaps that was exactly what the galaxy needed, a reminder that underestimating others was the surest path to obsolescence. The time for hiding was over. Now it was time to show the galaxy exactly what humanity could do when pushed too far. The Drachnid fleet emerged from hyperspace exactly where Earth's predictions said they would. Their massive ships, black as the void itself, stretched across space like a tear in reality. Federation long-range sensors counted over 3,000 vessels, but Earth's ghost network detected the truth. Nearly 5,000 ships, with more waiting in reserve. Fleet Commander Zarketh of the Drachnid Imperium stood on his command deck, his scaled skin reflecting the light of distant stars. "Status of Federation Defense Forces?" he demanded. "Scattered and disorganized, Supreme Commander," his sensor officer reported with satisfaction. "Their primary fleet is still 3 days from intercept. Local defense forces are minimal." Zarketh's mouth split in what passed for a Drachnid smile. Decades of planning, of careful preparation, were about to pay off. The Federation would learn the price of their arrogance. "Launch the first wave," he ordered. "Target their—" "Supreme Commander!" The sensor officer's voice cracked with sudden alarm. "Multiple signatures appearing. They're everywhere." Space itself seemed to ripple as Earth's hidden fleets decloaked. Not in one massive group, but in perfectly coordinated smaller formations, each positioned to counter specific elements of the Drachnid attack force. Aboard the EFS Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched the Drachnid fleet's reaction with clinical interest. "Status of the quantum net. Deployed and active, Admiral," her tactical officer reported. "Drachnid communications are being intercepted and decoded in real time. Their encryption algorithms are exactly what our simulations predicted." Chen nodded. The Drachnids had spent years studying Federation defenses, but they'd never encountered humanity's true capabilities. They were about to learn that studying an opponent's weaknesses wasn't enough. You had to understand their potential strengths as well. "All ships, execute Operation Checkmate," she ordered. Across the battlefield, Earth's forces moved with impossible precision. Drone swarms darted between larger vessels, their quantum-linked processors coordinating attacks faster than organic minds could follow. Ships that appeared to be easy targets revealed themselves to be sophisticated traps, their vulnerable sections concealing weapons developed by combining technologies in ways the Federation had deemed impossible. In the Federation Council chamber, the gathered representatives watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and fear. The tactical displays showed warfare unlike anything they'd seen before. "Those formations," Kren muttered, his military training allowing him to see patterns others missed. "They're not just coordinating their attacks, they're predicting the Drachnids' responses before they happen." Zexatal's crystalline form pulsed with realization. "The Ghost Network. They're not just using it for detection. It's a neural network," a Federation scientist interrupted, her tentacles waving in excitement. "They've created a predictive combat system using quantum computing. Every engagement, every response, feeds back into the network, making it more accurate." Back in space, the Drachnid fleet was discovering that none of their carefully planned strategies were working. Their shield frequencies, supposedly impenetrable, were being matched and bypassed. Their stealth systems, the pride of Drachnid military technology, might as well have been transparent. "Impossible!" Zarketh raged, as another squadron of his ships fell to weapons they couldn't even detect. "These aren't Federation ships. Who are we fighting?" His answer came in the form of a transmission that cut through every attempt to block it. Admiral Chen's image appeared on every screen in the Drachnid fleet. "Supreme Commander Zarketh," she said calmly. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You're probably wondering how we knew exactly where you would emerge from hyperspace, exactly what attack patterns you would use, exactly how your shields would be configured." She paused, letting the moment stretch. "The answer is simple. We've been waiting for you. For 20 years, we've studied every piece of Drachnid technology we could find. Every skirmish with the Federation, every raid, every probe. We were watching, learning, preparing." Zarketh's scales darkened with rage. "You dare—" "We dare because we had to," Chen cut him off. "The Federation wouldn't believe our warnings about you. They were too comfortable, too set in their ways. So humanity did what it does best. We adapted. We evolved. We took the Federation's cast-off technologies and turned them into something new. Something you couldn't predict because you, like the Federation, underestimated us." In the Federation Council chamber, the implications of what they were watching began to sink in. Humanity hadn't just built better ships or weapons. They'd fundamentally changed the nature of space warfare itself. "Look at their drone formations," Kren pointed out. "They're not just attacking, they're learning. Each engagement makes them more effective. The same principles we use to restrict is too dangerous for development," Vrax noted, his gaseous form swirling with agitation. "While we feared the implications of true artificial intelligence, humans simply built it." Back in the battle, the Drachnid fleet was being systematically dismantled, not through overwhelming force, but through precise, calculated attacks that seemed to anticipate every countermove before it happened. Zarketh watched his carefully planned invasion crumble around him. "All ships fall back to secondary positions. Prepare for— Your secondary positions are already surrounded," Chen's voice came again. "So are your third and fourth fallback points. We know all of them, Commander. We know every contingency you planned. The question now is simple. How many of your people need to die before you realize you've lost?" In the Federation chamber, Zextal turned to his fellow counselors. "We need to vote, now, before this battle is over." "Vote on what?" Vrax demanded. "On whether we're ready to admit that everything we thought we knew about maintaining peace in the galaxy might be wrong." The battle continued for another 3 hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. When the last Drachnid ship finally surrendered, the Federation's representatives had already drafted a new charter, one that would reshape the balance of power in ways none of them had imagined possible. In her quarters that night, Admiral Chen received an unexpected visitor. High Counselor Zextal's crystalline form seemed dimmer than usual, weighted down by the day's revelations. "You could have shown us this capability at any time," he said without preamble. "Why wait? Why let us dismiss you for so long?" Chen smiled slightly. "Because humanity learned something important from studying history, Counselor. Real change doesn't come from showing strength. It comes from showing strength at exactly the right moment." She activated a small hologram showing Earth's full military capabilities, far more than what they'd revealed even in the battle. Today wasn't about defeating the Drachnids. It was about showing the galaxy that the old ways of thinking need to change. Zextal's crystals pulsed with understanding. "You needed us to see it ourselves, to understand why the change was necessary." "The Federation has done good things," Chen acknowledged, "but it's also held back progress out of fear. Humanity is ready to help build something new, not an empire, not a hierarchy, but a true alliance of equals." As Zextal left her quarters, Chen looked out at the stars. The battle was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity had shown the galaxy what they could do. Now it was time to show them what they could build together. In the days that followed, ships from across the Federation arrived at Earth's hidden shipyards and research stations, not as overseers or inspectors, but as students and collaborators. The barriers were coming down, and with them, the artificial limitations that had held back progress for so long. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had been the catalyst. Not through conquest or dominance, but by showing that true strength comes from adaptation, innovation, and the courage to challenge the established order. The Federation would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had been working toward all along.